working out some of the stuff of the photography business. You got to treat the business as a business. Of course, there's hobby-like things that you're going to do. As I was explaining earlier, you definitely want to make sure that you are understanding to separate your hobbies from your actual day-to-day activities, what's going to pay the bills. A lot of times the boring, corny jobs that you don't want to do are the ones that's going to pay the bills and kind of keep things going. And then as you build along with your more artistic stuff, then that can overtake the boring stuff, and then eventually you can roll into that depending on how much business you can drum up in that period of time. But treating business as a business is the key to success. It's just being able to make sure that it's turning over money, that it's that you're getting the return on the investment, that it makes sense to you for the time that you're putting in, and that it's enough for you to survive on while you are finding your way to other things or possibly just staying in there. But as long as it makes sense to you at the end, that's the whole key to being successful. A lot of businesses aren't successful. It's because a lot of times it doesn't make sense to the person that's involved in the business. So the idea here is make sure things that you can do that would allow you to earn an income, and things that you would like to do that would like you to turn over some income. And then I know more of the artistic stuff and the more creative stuff are a little harder to come by because those jobs aren't just readily available. You have to kind of cultivate those things over time. But there are the basic stuff that you can do that can kind of keep you going until you start taking over and doing more of the fun stuff on a regular basis and having larger contracts, or just having more consistent work with those funner businesses and stuff like that. I just look at photography more of an objective thing. It's like, okay, I can do that, or I can freeze out in the cold and with a hammer in my hand and doing carpentry, doing forms during the winter, or I could just go in a nice warm building and shoot pictures, or maybe there's sometimes I'm going to shoot outside during the cold, but not very often, and be able to make sense of what I'm going to be doing with my career long term. So sometimes I just make the practical decision that, yeah, I don't want to be stuck with having hard life or having a hard job, especially as I'm rolling into retirement. I don't need the hard jobs anymore. I've done those, back in the day and stuff like that. I don't need to have those in my near future or in my far future. I prefer to stick away from those kinds of things and then try to stick around and doing something that's more fun and more that would keep the longevity as you're getting older, kind of thing. That this is something I can do at 80 years old and stuff like that. Even if I was confined to a wheelchair, I could still shoot out pictures and stuff like that. So maybe not making a whole lot of money, but you would still be able to enjoy photography even in your old age. I guess some other stuff about just business stuff is treat your business as a business. Don't treat it as a hobby. Don't treat it as an ATM. That's how most people go out of business, is treating it like an ATM. Make sure that you're putting in your time, your schedules, and making sure that that you are meeting your personal objectives to keep yourself in business. So as I was talking earlier about keeping a track of your ratio of close and stuff like that. So how many people does it take for you to get a certain amount of business to keep you surviving, and trying to work out that math and doing very good with that math so that it eventually won't come back to haunt you. That's the biggest key for, I guess, a lot of the newer entrepreneurs that are coming out, is that everybody wants something instantaneously. In this kind of situation, it's going to be more of a, get yourself together, build yourself up, and then once you build yourself up, then you can kind of move around and, and do more, I guess, more complicated stuff and things of that nature, and then you can kind of move along. because I noticed a lot of people, like even in my class and stuff, don't really have a lot of equipment. And it's funny because they go out and buy like these really new cameras, especially like the really inexpensive cameras like the R10 or the R8. And I'm sitting there scratching my head, like if I had to go and spend $1,000 on an R10 or an R8, I would just get me a used camera. I mean, give me something that's gonna give me a little firepower and a little bit of powwow at the end of the day. I mean, they do well, I guess, in that sense, but I would just find an older version, kind of like what I did here with the 80D. Just buy something, and then for the difference, I mean, I'm spending $300-400 for an 80D, and then that gives me another $800 ideally to buy lenses. I mean, with the 80D, you can buy quite a bit of lenses. I mean, I bought the what is it, the 100 to 300 for $150. I bought the Tokina for $100. What else did I buy that was pretty inexpensive? And then I picked up the 135 softbox off of Marketplace for $100. So those were really inexpensive lenses. Now the other ones were like $200 and $300, but still, that's even still inexpensive. So you're talking like the 60 millimeter macro lens that turned out to be about $315. So you got a whole lot of options when you're going in that route, and then you get going, you get started, you get confidence, and you get to knowing the equipment that you're dealing with. And then just like I just put out a blog yesterday about maybe starting off with something like the 80D or 90D, and then just rolling into an R7, because you can just adapt all the lenses you have to the more recent models of this. I think they're going to be launching a R7 II here in a little while, and then you could just roll into something like that, and then at least you've already paid for your lenses. You already have all the stuff that you need to run that particular camera, and then now it just comes down to essentially just making that larger investment and buying a camera, and hopefully you would have earned some money to be able to purchase a new camera and not have it cost you, but cost your business as a whole, or your activities of earning income, instead of it coming out of your direct income.